teams are built, and Sports Authority will always supply just the right tools. Because we have everything for every team with unbeatable values. Sports Authority, all things sporting good.
The St. Louis Cardinals are World Series champions. Be a part of the 11th World Series championship in team history with authentic championship t-shirts and caps. Go to Cardinals.com now to order your Cardinals World Series champions t-shirt, cap, and official program. Go to Cardinals.com and show your team pride with officially licensed Cardinals gear and shop the entire World Series collection. Be a part of your team's historic championship run and wear the gear the pros wear. Go to Cardinals.com today.
Spring training on MLB Network, from the starting pitch in Florida and Arizona to the final word from Harold in our studio. MLB Network brings you more spring training coverage and games than anyone. It all starts this Monday at 7 Eastern right here on MLB Network. The Urban Invitational continues. Off to the 5th inning we go from Minute Maid Park. For the first time ever, this event held in a big league venue. Prairie View A&M versus Texas Southern.
There's a guy that got hurt earlier.
And that's right, nice. Dominique Harris out of the game. The first baseman injured himself with a single early on.
So, Bobby, all these years you've been in baseball, what are you watching when you come to a game?
Well, I don't really come to watch the game. I come to critique the game, especially if I brought some kids with me. I wonder if you're a pitcher, if you're covering first, backing up the bases behind home plate, if you're an outfielder, the ground ball, I look at the outfielders to see if they're backing up the throws to first. And so on the stolen base attempt, I'm watching to see if all three outfielders converge around second base in case the ball hits a runner and kicks off, so you can prevent the guy from going to third base. So I come to really critique and look at people. As a matter of fact, some of these guys are on my summer league team this year.
Really?
Yes.
And when you look at the talent that we've seen so far at the Urban Invitational, these are young men that can take advantage of the TV cameras, can take advantage of having an event like this where scouts go, oh, there's an Urban Invitational, I'll go check them out. Do you think there are players that we've seen this weekend that may get, you know, a door open to a club with a minor league contract someday down the road? As this one sent to center field, and it will not be caught by Flanoy. It's going to roll, and let's see how far Johnson can run. To third base he goes. Here he's coming. The play at the plate, and out. Wow.
I don't know about sending right there. You're down 3.
Yeah, I agree with you on that one here.
Overzealous, you know, a little excited. What an exciting play.
It is a great play. Inside the park home run is one of the most exciting plays in baseball.
Yeah.
If it's if you make it.
He thought he hit that better than this is a big league park.
Especially the center field here where it's 436. Darryl Johnson's second hit of the game.
The catcher did a nice job of blocking him off, too. That's a nice play all the way around.
Shane Leftley is a big catcher, too.
So, Bobby, did you like guys playing shallow or deep? Look at this center fielder, where he's playing at.
Well, I had him a couple years ago on my team. He does play shallow. He gets a good jump on the ball. He has great speed, and I actually thought he was going to make that catch right there. But, Greg, beating back to your question, yes, there's, from what I've seen so far yesterday and today, there's about 4 or 5 players that have some ability. But this Urban Academy, it's going to help these guys learn more the proper way to play baseball. And that's very important. You'll have more fun when you play baseball if you know the fundamentals. And right now, you don't have to really worry about winning or losing because you're not getting paid for it. The only time you got to worry about winning or losing is when you're trying to negotiate contracts and things at the big league level or the minor leagues.
And as Bob Watson told us earlier today, the academy isn't just there for those youngsters who think they have the talent to play Major League Baseball. They're teaching you all the different roles. This one's going to get down in left field.
Chris's little brother.
I know, Oliver with the single there, and Chris isn't even the booth with us anymore. It was great that he was here. But all the different roles, right, around a Major League team.
No, I mean, I agree. I mean, this is a free academy, and you got to take advantage of this here. And no matter where you live in the city of Houston, you got to get out there. I heard one parent say today, well, you know, you guys are way over here on this side, and my comment to him was, your father did it for you, so you need to do it for your son. You know, well, I get off of work, well, find somebody else to get him over there. It's free, and especially, you know, to toot my own horn, you got a professional ex-major leaguer out there academy. You got to take advantage of that.
Yeah,
Daryl is working on that. We're trying to get some more, former players out.
So Andre Oliver, with a big lead, the throw over got away, and he gets all the way to third base. So Prairie View A&M could have had a big inning if they would have held Johnson up at third base.
Well, like Harold said, they're down by 3. Now, if he stops at third with the triple, got one man in third, 1 out, and you get a chance to fly ball, ground ball, base hit to get him in, and you're back in the game. But now you're at 2 outs, and now you need a base hit or error, a wild pitch or something like that to score.
You know, one of the things I learned playing with you guys, Bobby, was situations. You know, where I'm going to go for 2 here, or if I drop the bunt with 2 outs, it was like, you better steal and get the second.
I agree. I coached for Dick Williams when he was at Seattle, and one of the things that Dick said, if you got 2 outs and you decide to drop the bunt down, and you got speed, you better get to second base, and you better get there in a hurry. So, fundamental baseball, you got to know, when do I go for 2? A lot of times when I was with Cincinnati, I had plenty of opportunity to steal a base, but I wouldn't because I knew the guy behind me would be walked. So I want them to pitch to Bench or Perez or Lee May back in those days. Right. Now, if they were not hitting, I'd go ahead and steal, and then it's up to the manager if he wants to, or the other team if they want to pitch to him or walk him or whatever. But you got to know when, and some hitters don't like you to run when they're hitting.
I got to ask you about the classic stance of Bobby Tolan with the arms way up high. How did that start? And you see it every now and then, but how did you get that going?
It was an accident. I was in spring training. I just got traded over from the Cardinals, and I was in spring training, and one of the reporters were talking to me and asked me what did he think I could do for the Reds that year. And, Pete Rose is in the batting cage, and, we have our routine, 2 bunts, hit and run, get them over, get them in 8 or 10 swings. Well,
there's a look at it right there.
There's the batting stance, Bobby Tolan.
Yeah, I would never teach that to anybody. And so, I figured, well, Pete's in the cage, he's supposed to get 10 swings. He's going to take 20 or 30, whatever he wants, right? So I'm doing my interview with the reporter, and all of a sudden Pete says, hey, you're in there. And I wasn't loose, so I just put my hands over my head, walked in the cage, got in the box. The coach threw the ball. And I was right up here, and I just swung and hit it off the fence. And I still wasn't loose, and I put it up there again, and he threw it, and I hit the next pitch over the fence. And I said, wait a minute, let me step out. Let me perfect this now. And I just stuck my hands up there, and that's what happened.
So you were stretching.
I was stretching.
And your hands were up there stretching, and then someone threw when you weren't ready. And that's how the batting stance was created. Hines could beat this out. He's fast down the line. They get him just in time, and that saved a run. Bobby, thank you so much.
See, and that's how history was made.
But the thing about that, too, is I would imagine probably the rest of my career, I probably got 90% fastballs to hit because everybody's trying to throw fastballs underneath the elbow. And I started Tommy hawking the ball and became a pull hitter.
I'd say it worked. Bobby Tolan, thank you so much for all your time. We appreciate it. Our guests continue after the break. We're going to be joined by Chuck McElroy. This is a guy that had dominant seasons as a left-handed reliever for numerous clubs. We'll talk to Chuck right after this when we come back.
It's about the glasses. It's the glasses, Greg.
His son CJ was taken in the 3rd round of the 2011 draft by the St. Louis Cardinals. And growing up, Chuck, I swear, when you were with the Cubs or whoever you were with, you always dominated the St. Louis Cardinals. I find it a bit ironic that now your son is a center field prospect for that organization.
Yeah, it is. It's a sweet feeling for the McElroy family, and CJ putting the work in, and I just brought him up old school days and go out and play hard, leave it out there on the field. So it's kind of a big rivalry between me and him.
Well, you're from the state of Texas, yes. And as we watch Ray Hernandez dig in here for Texas Southern, he gets hit by a pitch, and he's down to first base, and the pitcher, Mitchell, is saying he didn't try to get out of the way.
That's the thing. In college baseball, they'll call you back. Now, we've seen it a couple times in the big leagues where they call you back. But it looks like he leaned in that. Chuck, would you be screaming at him, get back over there?
Yeah, well, can't say what we want to say, but, yeah, he would have had one right above the chin.
But being that you are from Texas, what do you think of the Urban Invitational, what it stands for, the initiative by Major League Baseball, and to have it here in the city of Houston?
This is good for the community, and I didn't know about it. I know they had it in California the last couple of years. But having it here is good for the community. I mean, the more people hear about it, the better off it's going to be, because it is a lot of kids here in this area that loves baseball. I train kids myself as well to have travel teams to help kids find scholarships. But this is good for the community, for the HBCU schools here in local community.
Yeah, I didn't realize all the HBCU teams that were in this proximity.
Yes.
You know, it really works. And, you know, talking with Jimmy Lee Solomon and Daryl Miller, they're talking about even expanding it because you're so close to Louisiana,
yes.
and you've got, you know, they can come down from Florida, and you got them here in Houston. So it's really a great location for this as well.
Yes, it is. It is. You know, the weather, well, right now the weather's not all that good, but usually the weather's usually good, and it'll be good for everyone. And, you know, a lot of schools like Southern, they have a big following.
Well, we got two left-handers throwing the ball pretty good tonight. What have you observed? Have you got a chance to watch most of the game? Because I know you've been around, but what are you seeing from our two lefties out
Well,
here?
I like the kid from Texas Southern. Nice size on him, and he knows how to pitch. I mean, he really knows how to pitch. He has a good idea about the game, and this young man right here, I mean, he's doing a good job of keeping his team in the game, and you know, he's getting by some pitches, but you know, hey, I like to see him challenge the hitter tomorrow.
Yeah.
And we hear that all the time. But these kids, I could see why they're trying to finesse. They're trying to show off that they can hit the corners. But you almost have to be fearless if you want to impress, right?
Well, the bats are different now these days. It makes a big difference. So you can challenge the hitters more now with fastball, and it keeps your pitch count down.
The bunt is caught. What a play by Bennis, and they're going to double him up at first base. Brad Bennis dives, catches the bunt, and they turn two.